Hey, Shawn, it's so great that you were able to be with us today. I'm so
Thank
glad
you for
you were
having
able
me.
to
I
stop
appreciate it.
by and be with InnerWorks. Oh my gosh. And when I first met you, I just could not wait to hear what your, because you had this energy. You know, each artist has their own little vibe, like you like to say, right?
Very true.
But there was something about your vibe that was a little bit different, and I couldn't wait to ask you, what is the artist life like for you?
It is hard, a little difficult. I think it's a beautiful struggle. That's the best word to say. A lot of ups and downs, but let's just be honest. For me as an artist, it's just like I don't see myself doing anything else. Like every time I get away from it, something pulls me back in. So I can go and do journalism, and I'll end up going back into artistry again. I'll go and try to do some business, sales, whatever, and back up doing art again. Some way I always end back up at it. It just doesn't matter. Like it's that I was talking to a young lady the other day about her style, right? And I was saying to her, I was asking her how did she get to being dressed this way, and she couldn't explain it. And at the end of the conversation, I was just like, it's like me asking a wolf why it hunts. It just does that. That's its nature. So I feel that's the same thing for me as well. Like I was having a conversation with a friend of mine, and I was just like, man, I get sick if I don't create. I just get nauseous. It makes me sad, depressed, but also like I could sit down with a piece and get really angry at it that it's not giving me what I want, but I will stick with it. And that's one thing I would say. It's just nature. It's like some people are just meant to do certain things, and the moment you don't submit to it, you end up causing harm to yourself.
That is the truth. So as far as your art life is concerned, can you take us through the different pathways you had to come before you got to where you are right now?
Yeah, sure. So I got sent to America when I was 17 from Barbados. So I finished what you would call high school over there, secondary school, and I came here and I got put back into high school again. And while I was in high school, I had a really good art teacher, and she saw that I was passionate about it, so she would send me up for programs and competitions. I believe, sorry, I'm doing the memory thing. I believe she got me into the DA's office. I did a piece that's hanging up in there right now. I don't know if it's still up there right now. It might be moved. I did a competition for the UN, and she also got me into the Caribbean Saturday morning program, where they were helping you prep for college entrance. So you learn to build a portfolio. You did vast different skills. You learn to life drawing, painting, old school graphic design, which is like, you know, taking magazine books and collaging together different images to make a new whole different image and story and design and stuff like that. They trained me how to draw in public, like writing on a train, creativity, photography. So they opened my mind to other stuff. When I finished high school, I didn't really know where to go. There wasn't really too many options or opportunities to go to college for me, so I ended up staying with the program for a little bit more, and I became a TA there. And after that, I tried to figure it out here and there. I met people that were talented. I have a few friends that are really good writers and creators and stuff like that. And what happened is I ended up meeting this guy. He wanted to create. He was a director / actor. He wanted his film that he was working on into a graphic novel. And what happened is like, this is life lessons here. When you work for people that don't know what they want, and when people don't know what they want, everything is what they want. So my style was okay for him, and then it wasn't okay for him. Then it was somebody else's style that he wanted me to do, but he couldn't afford to pay them for their style, so he wanted me to imitate their style. And it became all of that. Yeah, it became all of that, and it kind of turned me off from working for people, and I kind of shut off art. So I was going through some personal stuff at home as well, and also, you know, working and just trying to make money. And once you get into that grind life of like just trying to make money for yourself and survive, you kind of like the thing that you naturally do kind of falls to the wayside. It's like now you're kind of trying to become the cog to fit into the rest of the machine, and that wasn't working out well for me. So I kind of quit drawing for a couple of years. I just was like done. I was like disgusted. I was like, I don't want to work for nobody. I don't really know what I want to create for myself. I had like stories that I've ever, but whenever I was taking the train or writing the train, I would sit down and just come up with characters and storylines and ideas, and I'll just sketch out like the ideas, but I'll mostly be writing. So I write out the storyline and then I'll sketch out the character like I see them, but it wasn't never taken seriously. So this is so like maybe a couple of years of not drawing and making some life changes and trying to like better myself. A friend of mine, he was an artist. He was one of the hat guys in Times Square. He was always making hats in Times Square. He's been doing it for like about 10 plus years, and he, you know, he had a nice crew. Crew was kind of like reshaping itself, you know. Members were coming and going, and he was like, here's an art book, fill this up, do something and get back into it. So I got back into it by drawing, and I just started sketching more and drawing more. He really got me back into art, and then he offered me a position working with him. He's like, look, it's going to take you this much time. You're going to come into the really slow season. So I was stepping in like during the winter time. And so he's like, hey, if you can learn this during the winter and get comfortable doing this in the winter, by summer it should pay off for you. And I think like I did it for 3 days and quit.
Really?
Yeah, I was like, nah, this is not for me. I need money. This is not enough money to me, man. Whatever. And after that, I remember one of the guys that I used to work with, because at the time I was promoting comedy. I was working for different clubs in the city. I was working for like Stand Up New York, Laugh Factory, all these different clubs. And I remember one of the guys is like, no, Shawn, why you quit? You're a good artist. You should stick it out. I bet you're going to do well with it. Just stick with it. You should ask your friend to give you another chance. So after that, I spent like 6 months trying to get back working with him. Like I was like every day, like I was like
6 months.
Yeah, I was like, I'm gonna work with you. So I think, yeah, because it was winter. It was like maybe December, December, November when I started to work with him. And then I remember it was like October, September, like by the time I got back into it.
Wow.
So like I was getting like, or even January, could be wrong. Anyway, but like around that time. And what happened was like this other young artist, like this young lady came, and he was teaching her, and he was in that more receptible mood to take me back in as she was leaving. So as that happened, I got back in. And I stuck it out for like a good couple of years and tried to figure out how to do this thing, and still doing it now.
Wonderful. So let's fast forward to where you and I first met.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, to where you and I first met. So I met you at this wonderful event at the Bronx Native.
Yes.
And it was your event.
It was Noel's event. Actually, the guy that was doing the live spray session there, he invited me to come and do it with him, and it worked out pretty well. Like, I guess it was a good combination, because most of the time when I do my work, it's not finished. I make it right there on the spot, so people could ask me for custom work, and it's kind of a showcase, and people enjoy the whole getting something personalized for themselves right in front of their eyes. So they feel really good about it.
That's wonderful. And to kind of wrap things up, because we didn't really get to really dive into who you were, during this present time, what kind of advice would you offer to young artists, particularly young black men, who are following in your footsteps? The world has changed. We got this whole pandemic thing. what advice can you offer them? Not only as an artist, because once you're an artist, you're also what? An entrepreneur.
Yes.
What do you have for them?
I would say to young artists that actually are trying to make a career for themselves, I would say actually have something to fall back on, like in the beginning. So what you want to do is have maybe not a 9 to 5, but a part-time job while you are still figuring out what you want to do as an artist. I think that's one of the best things that those young people can do. And also stop letting people tell you who you are, and stop having ideas about how things should go. I think nowadays you're so influenced by social media, the news, and everyone around you, that you end up creating this facade of who you are. And I don't mean like it's some grandiose thing like, oh my God, I'm the greatest artist. It's even the facade of I'm not that good, I'm not that great, I'm not worth the time. And people will make you feel like that.
Yeah.
But you're doing it for you at the end of the day. There's nobody else that's going to do it for you. You know, I think about the regrets that I have in my life. And I got to this point in my life where I was like, is this worth regretting? And maybe that's the question that some people need to ask. Like, if this is like, when I look back at my deathbed, I'm like, well, I didn't do this thing. Will I be okay with it when I die? It might sound a little grim.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
But it's actually a really good thing to think about, because there's so many things that, you know, you regret. I had so many opportunities in my life. I was like, I've had people ask me to write for Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. I've had people like I've had people I've had people want me to work in law firms for them. I've met like very wealthy people that probably would make my life better, but and some of those things I regret, but at the end of the day, that was my path. And I had to go that route. But you in life have other regrets, which are your own personal personal things that you push off to the side, and then they eat at you.
Yeah.
You know, it's like even so, as a normal person, it's like sometimes you should have said no that time, or you should have said sorry or whatever. And you said no, you live with that. Think about saying sorry to yourself, or like, I should have gone after that. Even if, and then there's this really scary thing that we don't notice that we do as people. We keep things as dreams because we are afraid of the success. So if you keep when you ever had somebody ask you like, oh, how's that thing that you wanted to do? It's still there in the works and da 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 da. So you don't have to say that you failed at it. But then when somebody's like, oh, what happened to your thing? And you're like, well, I tried it didn't work out. You feel something about it, and you feel hurt, right? But maybe it didn't work out in that time. Maybe it will work out in another time. But we feel that, like, if that thing doesn't work out in the time or the fashion that we did it, it's not for us anymore. And that's not the case.
But I guess the bottom line is stick with it and stay consistent.
Yeah, stay with it, man. And not only stay consistent, like accept that it might not you might take a break. It's always there waiting for you. And that's the other thing. You think like it's gonna go away. It's not a loved one. It's not a loved one. It's not a job opportunity. It's just something that you do. It's like music, right? And not only that, it's like you think there's one way of doing it. There's so many multiple paths. I remember I was having a conversation with a friend, and he said something one day, and I said, all right, we're on this train riding home, right? If the train breaks down, tell me how many ways you can get home right now. And he was like, well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I was like, okay, how much you bet me I can name at least 20 more ways to get home besides that? And he was like, I can't think of them. And I was like, that's the way you should think about approaching things. Whatever you think about, if you think it's just that way, you're gonna put yourself in a position that you're not gonna be happy. Because if it doesn't go that way, you'll be upset. Like,
that's how people quit.
Not only quit, but we treat that with everything. We treat relationships like that, even too, right? And that's and I think that's the thing with art. it's a relationship. My friend called me yesterday, and we were talking about it. I said, yeah, art is one of the best relationships I've ever had in my life. Like, it's the only thing I know that leaves me and always comes back to me.
Yes.
Like, we could fight, we could argue.
Yes.
I don't have to, like, and then, you know, she'll show back up.
And you pick up where you left off.
And then
the best.
Right.
Yes.
But, you know, it's hard to explain that. He's like, yeah, you're right. I was like, yeah, man, best relationship. You can't go wrong with it. And that's the thing about when you find that thing that you love doing. I feel the same thing with people who cook and create music and whatever else, build homes. It's just like, I have friends that just, they're creative as hell. And, you know, I have buddies that have like had like Hollywood deals and that didn't work out, and they're still writing. It doesn't leave you, you know.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
So, Shawn, I just cannot thank you for your wonderful insight, and to sit here with InnerWorks during our coffee clap and to share your life as an artist. And I just want to thank you guys for sitting here with us. You can find Shawn on Instagram. Are you on Facebook?
Yes, I am.
He's on Facebook.
I'm on all platforms that you can stalk people on. It's totally fine.
Totally stalkable too. He's totally stalkable.
Yeah.
And we love you guys so much. Keep working, stay creative. It is nothing out there you cannot do, and we love you. Peace.
Kuna Matata.